I interviewed 100 people who saw sleep paralysis entities, asked detailed questions, documented everything. And 23 of them said something that shouldn't be possible. They saw the entities while fully awake, walking around. Daytime. No paralysis. No sleep. Just normal consciousness. And they described the same entities. Hat man, old hag. Shadow people. Crawler. Smiling man, seeing them in grocery stores. In parking lots. At work. In broad daylight. How is this possible? If these are sleep paralysis hallucinations, they should only occur during sleep paralysis. But 23 people, 23% of my sample, reported waking sightings. And in the next 16 minutes, I'm going to investigate what this means. Whether sleep paralysis entities can exist outside of sleep paralysis. Whether the phenomenon is bigger than we thought. And whether the entities might be more real than neuroscience admits. Because if even one waking sighting is genuine, everything changes. The whole framework collapses. And we have to ask harder questions. Before I present the cases, I need to address the obvious skepticism. Waking hallucinations happen. Hypnagogic hallucinations occur while falling asleep. Hypnopompic hallucinations occur while waking up. These are well documented. Not mysterious. But the 23 cases I'm about to describe don't fit those categories. These people were fully awake. Had been awake for hours. Were in public places. Engaged in normal activities. Not drowsy. Not transitioning between sleep states. Just awake. And they saw entities. The same entities millions see during sleep paralysis. So either these are unrelated hallucinations that coincidentally match sleep paralysis entities. Or something else is happening. Something we don't understand. Keep watching because in 2 minutes I'm going to present Case 1. And it will challenge everything you think you know. Case 1. A 32-year-old woman. Teacher. No history of mental illness. No drug use. She'd experienced sleep paralysis twice in her life. Both times saw shadow people. Standard episodes. But one Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m., she was teaching her class. Fully awake. Alert. Mid-sentence. And she saw a shadow person. In the back corner of her classroom. Same as the one she'd seen during sleep paralysis. Tall. Dark. Humanoid. She stopped talking. Stared. The students noticed. Asked if she was okay. She blinked. Looked again. Still there. She walked toward it. Students watching. Confused. As she got closer, the shadow person didn't disappear. Didn't fade. Just stood there. She reached out. Tried to touch it. Her hand went through. Like it wasn't solid. Wasn't physical. But it was visible. Clear. Defined. And then it vanished. Just gone. The whole sighting lasted maybe 15 seconds. But she was fully awake. Fully alert. And 25 students were in the room. She asked them, "Did you see anything in that corner?" They said no. Nothing. She was the only one who saw it. Case 2. A 45-year-old man. Accountant. Experienced sleep paralysis monthly for years. Saw various entities. But one morning, 8 a.m., he was in a coffee shop. Waiting for his order. Fully awake. Caffeinated. And he saw the hat man standing across the street. Outside the window. Same tall figure. Same hat. Same coat. He froze. Watched. The hat man just stood there. On the sidewalk. People walked past him. Through him. Didn't see him. Didn't react. But the man could see him clearly. More clearly than during sleep paralysis. Every detail. The texture of the coat. The brim of the hat. The way he stood. Perfectly still. And then a bus passed. Blocked the view for 2 seconds. When the bus cleared, the hat man was gone. This man went outside. Crossed the street. Looked for him. Nothing. But he swears it was the same entity. The same figure he'd seen dozens of times during paralysis. But this time, he was awake. In public. In daylight. Case 3. A 28-year-old woman. Nurse. Worked night shifts. Regularly experienced sleep paralysis. Saw the old hag multiple times. But one night during her shift, 3 a.m., she was walking down a hospital corridor. Fully awake. Alert. Had been working for 6 hours. And she saw the old hag. At the end of the hallway. Same old woman. Same gray hair. Same wrinkled face. Just standing there. Watching. The nurse stopped. Terrified. Because she'd only ever seen the old hag during paralysis. In her bedroom. On her chest. But now she was here. In the hospital. While the nurse was awake and mobile. She blinked. Looked again. Still there. She started walking backward. Away. And the old hag moved. Walked forward. Slowly. Maintaining distance. Like she was following. The nurse turned. Ran. Looked back. The old hag was gone. But for those 30 seconds she was there. Visible. Real. And the nurse hasn't worked night shifts since. Now I need to tell you about the common patterns across all 23 waking sightings. Because there are patterns. Consistencies. That suggests these aren't random, unrelated events. First pattern. All 23 people had experienced sleep paralysis before. None were first-time entity sightings. They'd all seen the same entity during actual sleep paralysis. Then saw it again while awake. This suggests a connection. A relationship between the sleep paralysis experience and the waking sighting. Second pattern. Most waking sightings occurred during low-light conditions. Early morning. Late evening. Dusk. Not broad daylight. This suggests visual ambiguity. Low light allowing pattern completion. Third pattern. The entities always appeared at a distance. Never close. Never touching. Always 10 to 50 feet away. This suggests their visual phenomena. Not tactile. Not interactive. Just seen. Fourth pattern. Duration was always brief. 10 to 60 seconds. Never extended encounters. The entities would appear. Stand there. Then vanish. This suggests unstable manifestation. If they're real external phenomena, they can't maintain presence long. If they're hallucinations, the brain can't sustain them without the sleep paralysis framework. Fifth pattern. Nobody else saw them. In cases where other people were present, only the experiencer saw the entity. This strongly suggests hallucination. Individual perception. Not shared external reality. But it raises a question. Why do these specific hallucinations occur? Why do the same entities from sleep paralysis appear during waking hours? The scientific explanation is this. Sleep paralysis creates strong neural patterns. Your brain generates these entities during paralysis. Activates specific visual cortex patterns. Specific amygdala responses. And those patterns get stored. Become templates. And in certain conditions, low light, fatigue, stress, your brain can accidentally activate those templates even when you're awake. You're not in sleep paralysis. But your visual cortex briefly generates the same entity. Shows it to you. Then recognizes the error. Wait, we're awake. That shouldn't be there. And shuts it down. The entity vanishes. This explains everything. The brief duration. The visual nature. The pattern of prior sleep paralysis. The entities are memory artifacts. Neural echoes. Reactivated accidentally during waking hours. But this explanation has a problem. And I'm going to tell you about it now. Because there's one case in my 23 that doesn't fit. One case where the entity did something that a memory artifact shouldn't be able to do. Keep watching because this case will make you question whether these are just hallucinations or something more. Case 17. A 35-year-old man. Photographer. Had experienced sleep paralysis hundreds of times. Saw various entities. Primarily the crawler. He'd become desensitized. Not afraid anymore. Just annoyed. But one evening, 7 p.m., he was walking his dog. Park. Still light out. Dusk. And he saw the crawler. On a tree. Crawling. Same elongated limbs. Same pale skin. Same insect-like movement. He stopped. Watched. Not scared. Just fascinated. Because he'd never seen it outside sleep paralysis. He pulled out his phone. Tried to take a picture. And the crawler stopped. Turned its head toward him. And vanished. Like it knew. Like it responded to his intention to photograph it. This is the detail that bothers me. Hallucinations don't respond to intentions they shouldn't be aware of. They don't react to cameras. They don't show awareness of being observed in specific ways. But according to this man, the crawler did. It responded. It knew. And it left. I can't verify this case. Can't prove it happened. But I have no reason to doubt the man. He wasn't seeking attention. Didn't want publicity. Just shared his experience when I asked. And his description was detailed. Consistent. Believable. So what do we do with this? With a case that suggests entity awareness? That suggests these things might be more than hallucinations. I don't know. But it's data. Strange data. Outlier data. But data nonetheless. Here's what I think is happening. In most of the 23 cases, probably 22 of them, the scientific explanation works. Neural templates. Memory artifacts. Accidentally activated during waking hours. Brief. Visual. Individual. But that 23rd case? The crawler case? I don't know. Maybe he misinterpreted the timing. Maybe the crawler vanishing coincided with him raising his phone but wasn't caused by it. Maybe memory is playing tricks, making the sequence seem more intentional than it was. Or maybe, just maybe, one time out of 23, something real appeared. Something external. Something that could respond. And that one case, if genuine, changes everything. If sleep paralysis entities can appear during waking hours, even rarely, what does that mean? Option 1. They're hallucinations that occasionally activate outside their normal context. Glitches. Misfirings. Option 2. They're real entities that normally require sleep paralysis state to be perceived. But occasionally, under right conditions, can be seen while awake. Option 3. There's a third state. Not quite asleep. Not quite awake. Where people think they're fully conscious but they're actually in a liminal space. And in that space, the entities appear. All three options are possible. None are provable. And that's the frustration of this research. We have experiences, reports, patterns, but no definitive answers. No way to test. No way to confirm. Here's what you need to know if you see a sleep paralysis entity while awake. First, don't panic. Even if it's not a hallucination, even if it's somehow real, it's not attacking you. It's just there. Briefly. Second, document it immediately. Write down time, location, conditions, duration, behavior. Details fade fast. Document fast. Third, check for mundane explanations. Fatigue. Medication. Stress. Low light. These increase the likelihood of waking hallucinations. And fourth, don't assume you're losing your mind. Lots of people experience this. You're not alone. You're not sick. You're experiencing something at the edge of normal perception. Strange but not dangerous. My final video in this series covers what happens when you try to photograph or record sleep paralysis entities. Because some people do this. Set up cameras. Try to capture evidence. And what those cameras show, or don't show, might answer the question of whether entities are internal or external. Real or imagined. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Sleep well. Stay aware. And remember, just because something appears outside its expected context doesn't mean reality is broken. Sometimes our categories are too narrow. Sometimes the strange is just the normal we haven't understood yet. I'll see you in the comments. And maybe in unexpected places.